Gymnastics is the foundation of movement for life. Check gymqld.org.au. Welcome to Stick It.
Yeah, good morning. Welcome to the program. Mark Braybrook sitting in for Ben Davis today, and as usual, joined by Olympic medalist Ji Wallace. Ji, good morning to you, and welcome again to the program. We've got a bumper show coming up today.
Absolutely, we do, Mark, and welcome to the program.
You. I'm feeling under pressure.
Yes, I think we're going to get the leotard out for you, and I'm going to teach you how to touch your toes and do a pirouette.
Well, before we get on, I must say it's a great thrill to be with you, because the Sydney Olympics I worked at and called a number of gold medals. I didn't get to call your silver medal, but it's wonderful from my perspective to be able to meet an athlete, A, an Olympian, B, an Olympic medalist, and C, someone that competed at the Sydney Olympics, seeing that we are 15th away from hosting the Olympics here in Brisbane. The time will go very quickly. No doubt the excitement from Sydney still is hanging with you, and so much looking forward to 32.
Well, that's right. It's only 7 years away. July, 7 years away. And we're still talking. 25 years ago, the Sydney Olympics won, and we're still talking about it
2 months away,
like it was yesterday.
I know.
So many people just remember the nostalgia of how amazing the Olympics were. Sport really is magic. It does bring people together. Being in Sydney at that time, it was just such a fun time. I remember being stuck in traffic in a cab, and the cab driver was happy. He wasn't yelling and screaming at anything. So it was just a good time. Everybody.
And we can do that again here.
We can do that again here, but we've got to get a bit of a wriggle on.
do.
We've got to get some of the venues locked in. We've got to get some of the legacy training facilities locked in, namely the gymnastics ones that we're still hunting information for, but that's for another time.
Where have you been?
I have been, let me tell you, since we last spoke 2 weeks ago, I've been at the National Championships. So we finished the National Championships on the Gold Coast, and Queensland came out. I think we were second on the medal tally with about 89 gold medal, 90 silver and about 87 bronze over the 2 weeks of competition. It was over 2,000 athletes at that. So that's
an extraordinary number.
That's pretty amazing. That's pretty amazing. So Queensland on top, of course, of course. And then I've done a country tour. So not only is gymnastics focused in the cities and the clubs in the cities, we like to get out to the venues out in the regions and making sure that they are well looked after and they know that we appreciate that they're there. So I've done 3,500 kilometres in the car, in the work car.
Wow.
GQ car 2, rabbits nil. I haven't got a roo or anything yet. There's been a couple of roos on the side of the road.
Close calls.
Yes, but the poor old rabbits, I feel sorry for those. But yeah, I've been out to Longreach, and I was out to Hughenden and Emerald, and then back through Woden, and then Chinchilla and Dalby and Toowoomba and Warwick, and then it's the weekend. It's my mum's birthday. Happy birthday, Mum.
It's a remarkable journey to cover so many spaces in such a quick space of time, but you're rattling off those country towns, and I'm thinking, this just sounds like state of origin with all our players that have grown up in the bush. Our cricket team, the majority of those that have come from regional areas. The regional areas of Queensland have produced so many sporting superstars in a variety of sports.
That's right, because the country towns get around the sports. They actually want their kids to be physical, able, and to be able to make it. So families have to drive hundreds of kilometres just to get most of their kids to training. I was speaking to some of the athletes and their parents out at Mount Isa, and they come in from Cloncurry once a week. So that's well over an hour away, and they come in just to do the gymnastics classes there. So people will travel for sport if you put it on, if you put the venues on, if you put the event on, people will turn up to it. They also turn up to the Boulia camel races too. I was upstaged a little bit by that because most of the, not most of them, but some of them went out to the camel races.
You didn't go?
No, I was coaching.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the thing about coaching in sport.
Have Matt will travel, wouldn't it? Yeah. Or have trampoline.
No, have camel will travel. So I've been out there, and then there's the Queensland State Club Championships that's just wrapped up. It's the last day today, and that's with all the clubs around the state and the Border Challenge. They all come in, they compete for the best club in the state.
Okay.
So it's a busy time for gymnastics. Plus, coming up, we've got World Championships in November, we've got National Club Championships in September, and we've got the Queensland Levels Championships in August.
Wow.
Plus all the camps, plus all the training that needs to be done in between then. So let me tell you, I'm tired.
So you could well have seen in your travels recently and at these championships that you've been to and are going to in the future, there may be one or two athletes there that could be competing in 7 years' time.
Well, with gymnastics, because it is a long lead-in time, gymnastics is a hard sport to get pretty good at. So it's a long lead-in time. So with the
7 years is a bit too short?
With the athletes that will be in 2032 representing, they're already doing gymnastics.
Right.
So it's not like the most sports where you can, especially the boys, where they hit puberty and all of a sudden they can row the shit out of a row, or they can push, or they can bench, or they can butt. It doesn't happen through puberty that way. Our gymnasts are short and strong, and that takes a long time to develop, the boys and the girls. So they're already in the system. So the people the athletes that are going to be representing us are already in the system. Do we know who they are? No. Lots of things can happen in 7 years, of course. But yes, well, the Olympians of the future are well within our sights.
Well, and the inspiration that we get from Olympic Games, no doubt, your performances and other sports performances in Sydney, in 10, 12, 14 years' time, developed other Olympians off the back of that and continue to develop Olympians to this day. And I'm sure there's plenty of people that even if they have a goal for something, whether it be 20, 32 or 36, you've got to start somewhere, don't you?
Absolutely. Just start.
Yeah.
The easiest thing is to do is to just put one foot in front of the other. Get up in the morning, put your shoes and socks on, put one in front of the other and go for it. Because why not? We live in Australia, the best country in the world. We can do anything that we put our mind to, so give it a crack.
And the competition's good. I think, when I say competing is good, to be able to try and, if you're not only competing against others, but competing against yourself to be better from one day to the next.
Of course. And guess what? You learn to lose too in sport.
How important is that?
Absolutely. Very important. Because guess what? Life will kick you in the gonads many times over. And you've got to learn how to pick yourself up and keep going. And sport's really good at that. And gymnastics is really good at that too, because that's what we do. We fall down, we get up.
There's nothing wrong with losing. I mean, as long as you do the best you can.
I mean, I do make a joke that I'm the first loser. Yep. I won silver, so I'm the first. So I was first at something. I was the best loser.
Yep. And I was about to say, there's nothing wrong with coming second.
No, of course
not. There's nothing wrong with coming third.
No, not at all. But you kind of don't want to come fourth.
You don't. No, you don't want to just miss out.
You don't want to just miss out because first gold medals are cheering. Silver, you're kind of kicking yourself going, I was so close to the gold. Yeah. Third, you're going, thank goodness I'm not fourth.
Yeah, absolutely. Coming up on the program today, we're going to speak very shortly, actually. I think she's just arrived outside. Liz Uruci from Gold Medal Gymnastics on the Gold Coast. It's a wonderful story.
Absolutely. She's a business owner on the Gold Coast. They've thrown everything into their gymnastics facility down there. They've exploded in numbers and they've won business awards on the Gold Coast. So it's a pretty crazy story and we're going to be talking to her soon.
And what are you going to teach me about today? What sport are we highlighting? What gym sport are we highlighting today?
Acro. So what do I mean by acro? I mean balancing on heads. I mean balancing on hands. I mean throwing people in the air. I mean doing all the crazy stuff that we used to do in the backyard that we tend not to do anymore. But it's going to be pretty exciting and I'm going to have fun teaching about that.
Okay, so all that and more to come as we continue our way through Stick It. We better take a break because Liz is here. Liz Uruci from Gold Medal Gymnastics on the Gold Coast is joining us in a moment. Yeah, welcome back to the program. Mark Braybrook filling in for Ben Davis here with Ji Wallace. And Ji, we're joined by a guest with our hero segment, Liz Uruci from Gold Medal Gymnastics on the Gold Coast, joining us in the studio this morning. Liz, thank you so much for your time. Welcome.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Hi, Liz. Welcome.
Thank you.
Where did your love of gymnastics come from?
Probably the love of my husband.
Now, your husband has a fabulous name, and I can't help but do a bit of a boogie every time we talk about him. His name is?
Boogie.
Absolutely. Boogie Wonderland. It makes me laugh.
Yeah.
But he is a former Romanian gymnast. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so he started gymnastics when he was 6. In Romania, it's a free sport for everybody. Everybody's doing gymnastics. And he was selected to start doing more intensive training. So for 16 years, he was a gymnast, competitive gymnast. And then he just loved it so much, he became a coach.
Well, tell us about Gold Medal Gymnastics on the Gold Coast.
Yeah, so we started 4 years ago. Boogie decided it was time for him to start his own club. We had kind of written down on a piece of paper like, I don't know, it's probably about 14 years ago that he wanted to build a club at some point, and we just found it was the right time. We had a 7-month-old at the time and decided to throw it all in and do it.
Was it harder than you thought or easier or just what you thought?
It's probably harder. Like, there's long hours that we have to put in, and we have to do everything from setting up and packing away for 2 years, all of the admin between the two of us. I think it's one of those things where we put ourselves in the position where we had to make it. We either make it or we don't. So we threw everything at it.
That's such a story for any business owner out there, really, is you put everything into it.
Yep.
There's plenty of people out there that mortgage houses to keep their businesses alive.
Yeah.
Have you done anything like that?
Not necessarily, just we were both unemployed at the time and we decided we needed to do it. Not unemployed, but we just decided that, let's quit everything we're doing and do it.
That's a big move to make. So what was the reaction like? What's it been like?
The reaction from the perspective.
From the public? From you're building the club, yeah.
So I think because Boogie has such a reputation, he had a lot of people behind him encouraging him to do it. A lot of former parents of kids that he's coached from when he was in Sydney. And I just think since we started and the reputation started building, like I was saying earlier, if you build it, they'll come.
Now, I know that we have a lot of problems with venues with gymnastics and venues with sport. Of course, we've got problems with legacy venues with Olympics coming up, and we're still trying to speak about that to the government. But you've got a great story about how you found your current venue.
Yeah, so what happened was we first started in a cheerleading facility in a very small space. We'd probably have 2 strips of flexi roll as our space. 6 weeks later, the lady we rented the space from had a falling out with her landlord, and we were told, you can either stay and work under my brand or you can find somewhere else. So I jumped onto some Facebook groups and a lady offered some space at an indoor sports centre. So we packed up and we packed away and set up every day for 2 years.
I mean, that's a huge... I used to do that as a junior trampolinist, that pack up and set down 5 days a week, and a lot of equipment goes into that. That's hours and hours and hours of work on top of everything else that you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. So at the time, we had the baby, so I would push the pram, walk the streets, look for any building with a for lease sign. I went and looked at some really dodgy places, small ceilings, pylons in the middle of the room. Nothing was up to Boogie's standards. And luckily, one day I was driving around an industrial area and there was an empty block of land with a sign out the front saying contact the developer. So I called him, and Lawrence, our landlord, is amazing and basically took us on board straight away.
How many people do you have now? How many
close to 200
right.
every week. Yep.
And that's a fantastic credit to yourselves about putting on a gymnastics class that people want to turn up to.
Yeah, absolutely. We started with, I think, about 6 or 9 classes, and we've now got 36 classes running, and that includes competitive gymnasts as well. So,
what kept you going? You talk about walking around the Gold Coast, pushing your baby in a pram. You've been kicked out of a venue. You're trying to establish something that is not necessarily in the forefront of people's minds when it comes to the sporting landscape, particularly in southeast Queensland.
Yep.
What kept you going?
I think it's just seeing the kids every day coming to class and the absolute joy that they get from doing the class and learning skills. We were running everything from baby gymnastics up to recreational at that point, and they just loved walking in. They loved coming and seeing Boogie. He's the hype man. All the kids love hanging out with him, and just watching them sort of develop and grow. Like, we've just said goodbye to, I think, 2 of our gymnasts who started with us in our first facility. We've got 2 of our gymnasts who started on the first day that we started, still with us competitively training. So it's about the kids and what they get out of it and how much they love it. And when the parents see how much they love it, they're all in as well.
And it's about the fundamentals of gymnastics, which we've spoken about many times on the podcast. You can see that they develop the fundamentals for life. It's not just about gymnastics, but you're learning how to listen and concentrate. You're learning how to follow direction. All of that comes into play in gymnastics classes.
Yeah, and all the inquiries that we get, we're getting inquiries from parents who are like, I want my kid to learn some listening skills or some, gross motor skills. We had one girl who would come, and she was coming for about 6 months, and then she went and did a summer camp in surfing, and the teacher was like, she's really good. Like, what is she doing to be able to jump up so quickly? And the mum said gymnastics.
Yeah.
So it's clear that it's a great foundation sport.
See, I would never have thought, Ji and Liz, that listening skills, why? Can you explain that? Like, why listening skills are so important for gymnastics?
Well, because they've got to learn the instruction of all the different skills that they're being taught. But when you're in a big gym, I feel like, there's lots of noise, there's lots of classes going on. So the kids really have to focus and they have to practice.
And there's a safety element to it, right?
Yeah.
Because there's hundreds of kids running around and everybody's got their classes and they've got to go from here to there and then transition to crazy and there's music going. So there's
So
lots
it's not
of things.
just about the athletic side of doing the sport. You're developing other skills as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Social skills.
Right.
Social skills are really important. People bring their babies and toddlers to class because they might not go to kindergarten yet, so they want them to be familiar with other children. And
What is baby gymnastics?
yeah. So we get out.
Mark, you might be good at that one.
No, well, I got-
you can get on the floor and roll around.
Well,
You should come one day if you want. Come and hang out.
I think I'm past that. But I do have 4 grandkids,
Yeah.
2 under the age of 3. One, Freddie, he's about 6 months old. So and my other second or third one, Pippa, she's about 2.
Yep.
So what would that involve, baby gymnastics?
So basically what we do is we put out all the equipment that we would normally put out for like our under 5 classes. We put extra equipment out for the babies as well. And they just get a chance to crawl around, climb on things, pull themselves up. They're climbing up the wall bars, they're climbing up the ladders, walking on the balance beam. Mum or dad might be holding their hands, that kind of stuff. So it's a chance for them to, first of all, use their body and to also get familiar with the space as well, because we find that kids who've come to baby gymnastics who then start coming to mini gym, what we call mini gym, is they are able to follow instruction and listen better because they've already got the running around out of the way.
Because that used to happen back before computers took over as
iPads,
babysitters.
yeah.
That used to happen naturally.
Yes.
So because that's not happening naturally at home, gymnastics is a perfect place for them to be able to develop that and take that into the school age.
Yeah. So our daughter's now 4, but last year we were over at a friend's house and the kids were jumping up and down on the bed, like they do. And the little boy would jump off the bed onto the floor. And my daughter, because she's come to gymnastics, she walks over and gets the little foam fold-out couch that kids have, drags it over and goes, now we can jump off the bed. So it's also the safety as well. They're
Sure.
learning safety things as well.
See, I'm sure there are people listening now that in their mind gymnastics is about the balance beams and, doing all the trampolining and all this sort of stuff.
High-level stuff.
Yeah.
High level stuff.
Yeah, not about basically teaching the fundamentals of developing a body and to be able to potentially segue into other things outside of gymnastics. I'm sure we see a lot of great young gymnasts who become very good athletes in other disciplines, other sports outside of gymnastics.
Oh, there are like things like diving and aerial skiing, things like that.
And business owners, and we have a lot of athletes that because they're good at concentrating, because they aim high and work hard, they go into the professions of lawyers, doctors, all of those sort of things. So it's amazing what gymnastics can actually produce.
Yeah.
Now, Liz, you do have something you won on the Gold Coast in 2024. Tell us about that.
So we won the local business awards, best new business, most outstanding new business. Sorry, yeah. So
And was that presented to you by Tommy? Tommy Tate?
No, it wasn't Tom. No, it was a different awards, but it's similar awards to those ones.
So that must be amazing as a new business owner to know that what you're doing is creating such a success line, not only for the gymnasts that come in, but as an example of other business owners on the Gold Coast of what you can actually do.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a chance for us to kind of sit back and reflect on what we were delivering. We knew we could see what we were delivering because we had the kids coming, we had the smiles, the competitive teams had started, but it was just a bit of validation for us of like, okay, so we are doing this right. Yeah.
Okay, so the base is there for the business. You're growing, you're still developing your business. What does the future hold then?
Well, so we're almost at capacity. We're probably sitting at about 75-80% capacity across the programs. The unfortunate thing is we just don't have the space to run more classes. So at the moment we've got 6 coaches. We've transitioned from having 1 coach, which was just Boogie, to now having 6 coaches working underneath him.
Every time you say boogie, I do. I just can't help it.
I should have sent
Surely,
him in.
You're used
surely
Liz
you
is
do
used to
that.
it.
Yeah,
No, Liz, she'd have to
surely.
be used to working with
I was just saying, actually, coming in here today, all the dance clubs around here is like quite cool. So we're lacking in space, basically. If we were to move into a new facility with extra space, we would double our numbers immediately, I would say, because of the amount of inquiries that we get.
And gymnastics is well known for being at capacity in many of our gymnastics clubs around the country and around Queensland. So we do need that extra space. We need the government to get on board to help us with that.
Yeah, 100%. Like even kind of grant funding, like grants are great, but a lot of the time it's about equipment or other elements. But if there was some sort of venue funding, that would be amazing.
Because gymnastics can get the kids off the streets, from that 6-month-old, and they also do senior gymnastics as well, right? Masters gymnastics. So it's not just for the young kids; it's for teenagers. We've got Free G that's going crazy.
Yep.
That's about just being free, doing gymnastics, jumping off the walls,
Do whatever
ninja
you
kind
want.
of stuff.
For those that can't listen or whatever, just do whatever
Well,
you
they're
want.
not interested in pointing their toes and keeping
Right.
their legs together and maybe even doing competitions. They just want to hang out with their friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the way through to masters.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like rent is one of our biggest expenses. So there's that side of things, but it's also the availability of space. So we've met with our local councillors and things like that, and there doesn't seem to be anywhere on the plan at the moment for any extra space to be allocated.
Another bonus for indoor sports in particular, and gymnastics obviously an indoor sport. You know, my 2 oldest grandkids at the start of this year, how wet it's been in southeast Queensland, they didn't play their first game of soccer outdoors until 6 weeks into the season, allegedly. Rain, hail or shine, we're going to gymnastics.
Right. Although being an indoor sport when it is nice outside and you're at a competition for 6 days in a row, like we've just been at the national championships on the Gold Coast by day 5, I'm just standing out the mirror at the window looking out going, there's sun outside. I know there's a life out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that does happen all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's nice when there's nice weather, but when it's hot, that's another issue, I think, as well. Like cooling down a facility is pretty tricky.
Of course, and expensive with air conditioning.
Yeah.
Now, I've just been on this road trip out to Western Queensland and they actually shut down over the summer periods because
Too
it's
hot?
just too hot.
Right.
And the sweat and the problems that comes with that, it actually becomes dangerous. So they actually close down. So they only operate 2 terms out of 4.
Question without notice can you answer? What's the favourite discipline you have of the kids that come in? What's the thing they like to do the most? Is there a discipline that they like to do that everyone wants to have a crack at?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is the tumbling side of things or the vault we're seeing at the moment. Particularly when I get phone calls from parents who are like, my child wants to learn how to flip. And I kind of need to redirect them a little bit. But then also when the coaches talk to the kids and they're like, what do you want to work on? They really enjoy the vault and tumbling side of things.
You find most people that turn up to a gym, all they want to do is learn how to flip. That's why the trampoline parks got so popular so quickly, is because it was just a trampoline into a foam pit and you could go and learn how to flip and flip into those things.
Yep.
Absolutely. But you've got to go to a gymnastics club to learn how to do it safely, of course. Isn't that right, Liz?
That's correct. And I wind the parents back when they call me about that. And I'm like, we're going to teach your kids fundamentals and then we'll teach them how to do the fun stuff.
Or you can do what Jai used to do in the backyard in Logan and just flip off the trampoline by yourself.
Just before we let you go, schools.
Yes.
When I was at school many years ago, we had a really strong gymnastics club at school. I'm talking back in the 70s, which is a fair while ago.
Yeah.
Very strong. What's gymnastics like in the schools now?
I'm not too familiar with schools. I think some schools do have programs where they might take kids off-site. We just don't have the capacity to be able to do that. We absolutely would love to do that because that's the quiet time for a gym is the middle of the day.
Yeah.
So to be able to have that kind of capacity, if we had the space again, would be really good. But I know that our daughter's her kindergarten, her daycare, they have a gymnastics facility, which is kind of what sold me on the
I was
the
about to say, that would have been the only one you looked at, wasn't it?
No, I looked at all of them. I looked at a lot of kindergartens, but they have a purpose-built. They've got like a little foam pit and they've got bars. It's amazing.
Excellent. Well, Liz, thank you for taking the time to get on the train to come up and join us here for Stick It. It's been wonderful to talk to you. Congratulations on the award. Congratulations also on what you've done. I mean, outside of whether it's gymnastics or whatever, the work that you and Boogie have put in is extraordinary and you deserve every success. So thank you so much. Gold Medal Gymnastics, 80%, still got more room there. So with a little bit more room. So get on the phone, look it up on the website, Gold Medal Gymnastics. Liz Uruci, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
We better take a break here on Stick It. A break and back with more. Now, I'm looking forward to this segment. This is our gym sport highlight of the week. And Jai, you alluded to it before the break. Acrobatic gymnastics.
Absolutely. Now, have you ever tried to do a handstand?
Many years ago.
I think everybody's tried to do a handstand. Yeah. Imagine doing a handstand on somebody's hands and then they slowly move into the splits. That's the type of acrobatic gymnastics that we're talking about. There's a male and female sport, so it's really popular with the boys and the girls. It incorporates balance, aerial and tumbling skills. So you've got to do all of this in front of the judges too, right? So not only do you have to be great at the actual skills, you've got to present it in front of the judges as well. So they use their partner's hands, their feet, their shoulders, and their head to perform balancing skills, such as handstands, or dynamic skills, such as somersaults. When was the last time you did a flip? Tell me.
Last century, maybe.
Tell me, surely you're
remember.
guilty, just like I was doing flips in the backyard on trampolines.
Well, no, I wasn't good enough. I jumped up and down on a trampoline, but I was worried of falling off, which I did once. But no, I can play other sports, but I was never any good at doing something that required massive coordination.
Right. So there's five different disciplines or divisions in acrobatic sports. Maybe there needs to be a sixth one just for you, Mark.
Yeah, most probably.
Yeah, maybe. I tell you, I told you, I've got a leotard for you. We can pull that out. Now there's women's pairs, men's pairs, mixed pairs, women's trios.
Trios and fours.
So trios and men's fours. Yeah, that's right. So fun fact,
right?
Acrobatic gymnastics goes back to the mythological ages where the Greek men used to perform acrobatic moves and acrobatic gymnastics, generally in front of either the king or somebody like that. So it can go all the way hundreds and hundreds of years. So it's one of the original sports that was developed for entertainment purposes. So anytime that you go to the circus, unless you go to an animal circus, you shouldn't be going to animal circuses anymore. But if you go to a circus, generally you're watching an acrobatics warm-up or acrobatic competition because that's what they're doing. Because it's people doing amazing things with other people. There's no apparatus that they use except for another human being. It's pretty amazing.
It is.
Yeah.
And the amount of time that it takes to be good at anything, but this is even more difficult.
That's right.
When you think about it.
That's right. So we've got a couple of really great clubs here in Queensland. So there's Brisbane City Gymnastics Club, Gladstone Gymnastics, and so we've got a couple of groups and international pairs and trios from Queensland that have just been overseas, come back with some really great results. Now, of course, with gymnastics, like all apparatus and all disciplines in gymnastics, we compete against the behemoths, the USA and lots of them out of Europe. So the fact that we come back with a couple of gold medals, that's pretty good, a handful of gold medals for the Australian Gymnastics Championships. So the fact that we can do that on the world stage is pretty incredible.
Yeah. I want to ask you the question, how do you know whether you're good at something like that? If you're a gymnast and you go for the first time and you're developing your skills, as a coach or as someone watching, what are you looking for to decide, no, you're a better acrobatic gymnast than potentially what you want to do or whatever? How long does it take for you to develop those skills or work out what you're good at?
There's different people and body shapes and types and strengths for different positions. So if you're a bigger person that wants to do acrobatic, you're going to be on the base. And if you're a flyer, if you're a small person, they're the ones that are going to throw you in there and you're going to do all the tricks in the air. So acrobatic gymnastics actually encompasses many different body shapes because obviously you can never tell who's going to grow when they go through puberty. So acrobatic gymnastics actually takes on the ability to take those athletes that probably get a little bit too big for the traditional sport of mag or wag or women's artistic and men's artistic and potentially even trampoline there too.
And a team sport in a majority of, gymnastics can be seen by a lot of people as an individual sport. This is an opportunity to compete in a team, which is a different sort of feeling altogether. Yeah,
100%. Of course, if you're competing as an individual versus competing as a pair or a trio or in a team, it's just a real different dynamic. Yeah. Because you're relying on somebody else and they're relying on you too.
Yeah, absolutely. So acrobatic gymnastics. And what would be the ideal age, do you reckon, for someone to start developing their skills for that? Or is it just something that happens naturally?
I think everybody comes into their local gymnastics club and they find their way. They find their wheelhouse. They find their way. So just get into your local gymnastics club, get started, and who knows? You could be travelling the world being an international gymnast. It's never too late.
Well, it is. It is. Once you reach my age, it's too late. But anyway, I can dream about it anyway. We're going to take a break because we've got your stories coming up. Stories from Ji. Still to come here on Stick It.
Vault with Ji the Trampoline Guy.
So, Ji, what rabbit warren are you going to let us down? Now, I've been warned about this segment that anything goes, so I'm a little bit nervous. What are we talking about this week?
Well, we will talk about acrobatic gymnastics and tumbling, and we'll sort of weave a few stories in about that. But tumbling is called power tumbling now. So you know how we were talking about before, how I asked you if you've done a handstand.
Yeah.
Have you done a cartwheel?
No, my granddaughter does.
Everybody does. Every kid does
loves
cartwheels in the yard, in the park. Okay, so if you think about what the gymnasts do from corner to corner on the floor, so they do cartwheel or round off, and then the back flip, double back, so we do 8 moves down a air track or a rod floor now. Now these guys are running up to 20 k's an hour to hit the pass, and then they start off with a round off or a briny, and they're doing triple somersaults off the floor into more somersaults and then into another triple somersault. These guys, it's called power tumbling for a reason. Yeah. It is pretty incredible, and Australia has a really proud history of tumbling. We had a world champion, Ethan McGuinness, in 2022. So he took out the World Championship, and he set a world record at the World Cup previous to that. So people don't quite understand or realise the plethora of success that we've had in gymnastic sports, but they just don't happen to be the ones that everybody sees at the Olympics.
Well, that's the interesting thing. When you were saying that, I was thinking, how come he is not a name that springs to mind readily when he's a world champion, set a world record?
Yes, absolutely. Have a look on YouTube for Ethan McGuinness, or just have a look on his socials. It's pretty amazing what he can do. And the club that he trains at, the Kashan School of Tumbling, they're producing junior world champions by the bucket load. So they're going to have a wonderful history down there. But I also used to do tumbling. Now, I never really got taught how to do a cartwheel. I just pretended it was a trampoline. So I just ran down the runway and just pretended it was this long trampoline and did all my trampoline skills, just threw them backwards, and I happened to win the national championships 4 times in a row.
You made it up as you went along?
I pretty much made it up as I went along. I never trained it. I just trained trampoline.
Well, the obvious question from that then, Ji Wallace, is how good could you have been?
Yes.
If you practiced it and were coached to do it, as opposed to making it up as you go along?
Well, my coach said, you've done really well on trampoline today. You've done really well on double mini, the other 2 apparatus that we do. You can have a bit of fun on the tumble track. So I did that. Right. I think in the 90s and even the 2000s, I think there's 1 or 2 athletes out there now that do all 3 different disciplines within trampoline sports. But I was the only athlete ever to compete at world championships at all 3 individual disciplines. And I think I'm the only athlete in the history of trampoline to have an international level medal in all 4 disciplines. So trampoline, double mini trampoline, synchronized trampoline, which everyone knows as tandem, and then tumbling, power tumbling. So again, Australia does really well at these acrobatic sports, and lots of Cirque du Soleil athletes, they're filled with Australians. The aerial skiing community, filled with Australians, filled with trampoliners, filled with gymnasts, filled with tumblers. Now, obviously, you've had a few beers in your lifetime, Mark.
Yeah.
Now, have you been a stumbler?
Well, sometimes. I don't want to sound like I'm an alcoholic or anything, but yeah, maybe once or 2, but not for many years, Ji.
Now, if you had to learn how to do a cartwheel, you could have saved yourself every time that you went for a fall. Potentially.
I'm still trying to get my head around the fact that you did something, you made something up, and you won a world champion, national and got a medal for it.
Yes.
Yeah, and you just made it up.
Yes.
I can't get my head around that.
Oh, well,
that's outstanding.
It was for fun.
I know. But doesn't that tell you something also?
Sport's got to be fun. 100% it's got to be fun. Yes, there's going to be tough times. And yes, there's going to be hard sessions. And yes, there's got to be a lot of sacrifices. And yes, parents have to do a lot of that too. But as long as sport's fun, as long as you're enjoying yourself, you're going to go a long way. And I think the reason why I went a long way is because I was kind of good at it as a little kid. My coach used to say that I was cute and cuddly, and then she just told me I turned into a monster. But because it was fun when I was a junior kid, that's what gymnastics is about. That's why we make it fun in the fundamentals, in the beginner classes. It's all about having fun and making sure that the kids enjoy themselves so that when we do need to get into that senior ranks and we do need to make those sacrifices, we still know that it is fun.
Did you like the way I've segued away from you talking about me stumbling into something else? I did that pretty well, didn't I?
You did do that very well.
Yeah. But even when you get to the senior levels and it becomes really serious, I mean, it doesn't get any more serious than competing at Olympic Games. You're not going to be any good if you're not still having fun then, are you?
No, not at all. Of course, it has to be fun. You have to want to be there.
Yeah.
It can't be a daily grind and drudge and you just don't like it anymore because it's going to come across in your performance. So there's been, I'll tell you another story actually. I'm the only athlete in tumbling to do, I'll be a little bit technical, to do a round off or a cartwheel and then a flick flack, so a back salt with your hands on the floor, which everybody sees Simone Biles do. And then in the air, I do a double somersault with a double twist.
Right.
And then I land on the apparatus again. And then I do another back salt with a full twist and another back salt with a full twist. And no other athletes ever competed that combination. So that could be the Wallace combination. There's lots of names
well,
out there.
Maybe you've missed the boat, though. you should have done that a few years ago.
I've got my leotard. I've got my Olympic leotard. I can chuck it back on and have another crack, I reckon.
You reckon?
No. I would be called a stumbler. I would be called a stumbler.
You've been asking me. I'd certainly like to see that.
I would, a stupid tumbler. No, don't do it, Jai.
See, I find it remarkable. You're sitting there rattling off all these moves you're making. I know that you've been doing it a long time, etc. But it's just ingrained, isn't it? You don't think about it. You just do it.
Yes.
It's not something that you're thinking as you're running down, I've got to do this, that, the other. Bang, you're in that moment and you just do it.
Some people are great at learning languages. Some people are great at learning maths. I'm neither of those. I just happen to have good aerial awareness. I was jumping off the high-set roof of my house when I was growing up onto the trampoline.
Oh, you would have been a nightmare, yeah.
Onto the trampoline, having friends throw the rope swing at me. So I'd jump for the rope swing on the rope swing, out past the tree, come back, jump on the trampoline, and jump back to the house. If everybody could see your face
I
now.
am speechless. I'm without speech.
That's what I used to do. And
how were your parents?
My mum would go, "What are you doing?" And I'd say,
"Is that all?"
And I know. And I'd say nothing. And you could hear me run down the back veranda. Duk, 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 and I'd go, whee, out onto the trampoline. It was so much fun.
So did your mates have a crack or it was just you?
No. I lived in a small little street, and there was 4 houses in that street, and everybody had a trampoline.
Everyone had a crack at it.
Back in the early 80s, so we were just having fun.
There's no occupational health and safety in those
Not
days.
at all.
Yeah.
I mean, Vully backyard trampolines here in Brisbane make the world's best backyard trampolines. They're fully protected, fully government certified, but that was never around when we were jumping. Half the time the trampolines didn't have springs, didn't have all the springs. We used to fill up the vinyl trampoline mat and sit in there with the water, in the hot summer's day.
Mate, fair income. If you were my son and you're doing that sort of stuff, my son, who's now in his 30s, he was a climber. Right, he loved climbing things, and that used to freak me out.
Yeah.
He didn't jump off them, he didn't swing from them, he didn't do anything other than climb. So I would be a gibbering mess,
right,
if I had to look after you.
Another time I remember my parents freaked out when they were watching me at a neighbour's place, and I was jumping on the trampoline, and some of the neighbourhood kids were saying, "Show us this and show us that." So I just did a back salt, but I went too far back, and I landed on the frame. And my parents swear that they would not believe me if they didn't see me do it themselves. Behind the trampoline was a barbed wire fence. So I knew that I was in trouble if I went backwards. So I just gripped onto the frame, my hands and my feet. I swung underneath the trampoline. My bum hit the trampoline from underneath the trampoline. I swung back up just like I was supposed to do it and kept bouncing. And my parents swear to this day, and I didn't get caught on the barbed wire fence. I mean, my bum was right there. Imagine that.
And you're still alive today to tell the story.
Yes, I am. And again, my parents would say that they wouldn't have believed that if they didn't see that
Neither
themselves.
Yeah, but I do believe you, Joe.
Yeah.
I do believe you. So
if you're a parent out there, let your kid have fun on a trampoline.
Have fun and play. Yeah. Well, not to the extent that Ji Wallace had fun on the trampoline, but certainly start with the basics. Now, next week on the program, we're going to wrap it up here. We've got a world champion.
We do have a world champion, a local Brisbane boy.
Yes. stand by for the announcement.
Yes.
A local world champ who has children involved in gymnastics. That's why he's coming in.
That's right. He's going to come in and talk about it, and he's a local superstar.
And can I give a little clue about who it might be?
Sure.
One of the greatest sporting events ever seen in this city he was involved in. So think about that as we count down the days to next edition of Stick It.
There you go.
All right.
We stuck it.
And a legend. Legend. It's been so good to be spending the last hour with you, Ji Wallace. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much,
joining me.
Mike. You've been wonderful.
And Ben will be back, I think, next week. And we'll have another edition of Stick It. So thanks, everyone, for your company. And don't forget that world champ joining Ji and Ben next week on the next edition of Stick It. We'll catch you then.